What's up, everybody? So, I guess I struck a nerve with people in my last video. People feel passionately about this shit, I guess. So, let's talk about it a little bit more then. You know, as far as people disagreeing with my opinion, and disagreeing with some of the things that I think about the situation, based on what some of you guys have been saying and stuff like that. Let me go a step further to maybe try to clarify my opinion on some of those points that were brought up that maybe I didn't talk about in the previous video and stuff like that. It's just what I think, all right? So, first things first. Before you if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you want to put that in the comment section and say, you know what, I don't think I disagree, and this is why, blah blah blah. Like, at least watch the whole video that I made before you formulate your opinion and stuff like that. If you watch like the first 8 minutes and you're like, oh yeah, I disagree with you, and then blah 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 blah, shit, like, dude, watch the whole fucking video, because some of the shit you guys bring up, I already presented my argument against it in the video and shit like that. So just, just watch the whole fucking thing before you come at me and say this or that or whatever. But alright, so apparently, so the guy's still a doctor, I guess, and he's got patients. Like, let's talk about this first. He didn't want to give up his seat on this flight because he had patients he had to see the next day, right? And I guess he was saying that, right? So, okay, first of all, if he had given up his seat, he would have missed the flight. But apparently he didn't realize that even if he doesn't give up his seat, they're going to force him to leave the plane with law enforcement, and he's still going to miss the fucking flight. No matter what happened, Dr. Dow was not taking that fucking plane that day. Willingly or against his will. He wouldn't be going to be on the fucking flight. So let's say that didn't even enter his mind, right? He had patients he had to go see the next day. Don't you understand that? Yeah, I understand it, but that doesn't really mean much to me. Like, this guy's not the only doctor in America, and you know what? Haven't any of you ever gone to the doctor before and your normal doctor wasn't there? He was at a medical conference, or he was on vacation playing golf, or he just wasn't there, and so you had to see a doctor you don't normally see? Are all of this guy's patients that he apparently, these patients that he has, are they all like on life support in the ICU, and that next day they are all going to die if this doctor wasn't there? Are 18 people dead now because he missed that flight? I'm just saying, I'd be willing to bet that all the patients that he didn't get to see, they're probably all alive and kicking. Like I said, this could have been just a big inconvenience, and I feel like this guy turned it into just way more. Just this big, giant fucking thing. But it could have just been an inconvenience. So, oh yeah, patients to see the next day. Like, this guy ain't the only doctor in the fucking world. Alright, sure, inconvenience to the patients? Of course it is. I'm not gonna say it's not. But, is it the end of the fucking world? No, it's not. That doesn't warrant his fucking behavior, in my opinion. That's the equivalent of a cop pulling me over for a burnout taillight, and I run from him, and I get into a high-speed pursuit, and I drive all the way to the place where I work or something like that, and they get out with their guns drawn, and they arrest me, and they say, why did you run from us? You just had a broken taillight. We're going to give you a warning. Well, I had to get to work. I'm already running late as it is. I can't just stop for police officer. I can't just comply with you guys. I gotta be at work. I gotta get to my job. Is that a good enough excuse? So I ain't buying it. I just ain't buying it. So, I mean, as far as, you know what, the guy paid for his ticket. Okay, he paid well in advance. All right, he paid for that seat. So they should have given it to him. I agree. I'm agree with you on that one. Yeah, he should have been able to ride on that plane because he paid for the ticket. But look, things change, and they told him, sir, we are going to have to take your seat. There's nothing you could do after that. You know, there's nothing you could do. If the people that work for the airline say, sir, I'm sorry, this is the situation, you have to give up your seat. You know, unless you could talk your way out of it, that's it. If they're telling you, no, sir, there's nothing you can do, then you have to give up your seat. You have to. I mean, I guess technically you don't have to give up your seat. And, you know, the police officers will just come and forcibly remove you. But one way or another, your ass is coming out of the seat. You know, and look, when you buy a plane ticket, you're not buying that seat. You're not buying a part of the fucking plane. Okay, when you buy a plane ticket, you're not getting, that's not like a season ticket to the Eagles or something like that, where you have that seat all season. You pay for one ride on that plane. And if they decide to take that ride away, they can. They could do it on a plane. They could do it on a Greyhound bus. They could do it wherever they want. If it's their property, they can do that. They can do that. So when someone owns something, they can make someone leave that property or premises if they want. If you don't think that's right, if you don't think the owner or representative or employee of an owner can't make someone leave the property of that company or that owner, put that in the comments. Like, state that for me. No, you do not have to make someone leave your property. You cannot make someone leave your property. Put that. And think about that for a second. But that seems pretty obvious to me, right? You know, and as far as popular opinion goes, well, you know, look, everyone, you're all by yourself on this one because everybody else agrees with me on this. I don't give a fuck about popular opinion. I really don't care. Popular opinion thinks the Kardashians are the bee's knees, and I really couldn't give two shits about the women. 100 years ago, popular opinion was that black people were subhuman. That doesn't make it right. Just because a large swath of people believe that in a certain thing, have a certain, you know, consensus, that does not make it right. That just means everyone agrees. So I really don't care what popular opinion is on. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I really don't. You know, I'm sorry, I'm thinking for myself on this one. But, you know, you're defending the big corporation. They don't need you to defend them. You know, I'm not defending the corp. I don't really give a shit about United Airlines. I really don't. You know, do I think they're going to go out of business? No, I don't think they are. I think they'll be fine. Just like every other corporation that's come before them that bounces back after they have some PR nightmare. I'm sure if you Googled it, you could think of, oh, you know, fucking Kellogg's had this big scandal 10 years ago, or some oil company or some bullshit, like BP and their big giant fucking oil spill. The BP oil spill, that fucked over, like, what, tens of thousands of people? People fucking died. People died. BP's still around. BP's still making money. Maybe they're not making quite as much money as they used to, I guess. Maybe. But they're still there. I remember that. Do you remember? Because I remember the boycott BP for fucking up the Gulf Coast. Boycott them. Let's put BP out of business. BP's, I'm sure they've still got $50 billion, $60 billion. They're doing okay still. They're still making money. You know, and you think, I don't know how much United Airlines is worth. I'm sure probably a couple billion or how much ever they're worth. You know, they fucked over this one guy. They have this one problem with public relations. You think they're not going to bounce back from this? Like, I don't give a shit what happens to them. I'm just saying, like, I don't think, you know, oh, we're going to boycott them. Well, like I said, we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens as time goes by. Because after a while, like, this is just, you know what this is? This is a big fad. This is a big giant bandwagon for people to jump on. Like the thing that in Darfur years ago. Do you guys remember Darfur? And everybody, there was this giant outcry for these people, these poor people in Darfur. Does anybody fucking talk about that shit anymore? Does anybody give a fuck about those people in that, on the other side of the world in Darfur? Has anybody even mentioned Darfur in the last 5-10 years? No. No, we gave him a shit about that back in like '08. Nobody gives a fuck about that no more. This will be the same thing. It's just flavor of the week. That's all it is. So, everybody's hearts are bleeding for this guy. But they'll have fucking forgot about it after a little bit of time goes by. But, you know, people are saying, look, put yourself in this guy's shoes. You know, what if it was you? Okay. That's a good way to look at things. But you know what? That's exactly what I did. And that's why I made that previous video, because I put myself in that position. I put myself in this guy's position and thought to myself, what would I do? You know what? If it was me in his shoes, what would I have done? And I'm here to tell you, I wouldn't have done what he did. You know, if it was me, it would have been, excuse me, sir, look, this situation, flight's been overbooked. The computer generated some random seats because we couldn't get any volunteers. Your seat is one of the seats that the computer generated that you have to give up your seat because we overbooked the flight. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. You know, seriously, I mean, like, I have to. There's no way around this. There's nothing I can do to, you know, because look, I got somewhere I gotta be tomorrow, and this is really gonna screw up my schedule if I miss this flight. You know, there's nothing that I can do or anything like that. No, sir, unfortunately not. You have to give up your seat. There's nothing that we can do at this point. Okay, well, shit. I mean, who do I talk to? Do I talk to the lady at the desk out in the terminal, or who do I talk to about this? Yeah, you could talk to this person, that person, the other person, and they'll help you out with another ticket. Okay, so I can get another ticket on another plane, right? Like, you guys are gonna take care of that, and do I get the voucher too? Okay, who do I talk? I talk to that lady about getting all that stuff. Okay, all right. Total bullshit, you know. Looking at the guy next to me. You believe this shit? God, you know. Get my shit. Grab my backpack. I'd be in the terminal like, hi, they just told me I had to give up my seat. You know, so what do I do now, you know? Life goes on. And as far as that's concerned, have you put yourself in this guy's shoes? And what I mean by that is, would you have reacted to this situation the exact same way, in an identical fashion? Would you? Would you have sat in that seat and refused to get up until the cops come and basically remove you from the plane? Would you have done the exact same thing? Through and through. Because if the answer is no, if the answer is, well, you know what, I just would have taken them, because I would have taken the money and just got another flight and told the lady at the desk, like, you know, this is really bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, how do you guys can't, do you guys do this normally? You know, because you're screwing up people's plans. You know we have plans and schedules. You know, other than that, like, if you would have just taken the money and got off the fucking plane, I gotta ask, why the fuck are you defending this guy? if you wouldn't have done the exact same thing. Because if you wouldn't have done the exact same thing, through and through, from start to finish, ask yourself why you wouldn't have. Why? You know? I say it's because this guy was an example of the wrong correction. He's an example of what not to do in this situation. The flight overbooked, you lose your seat, what do? What this guy did, wrong scenario. There's only two ways it can go. You leave the plane or you stay on the plane. He stayed on the plane, and look what fucking happens. So, you know what? If it seems like I'm just a fucking asshole, and I just don't give a shit about this guy, and, it's because I look at situations like this logically, and not with my emotions. Do I feel sorry for the guy a little bit? Maybe, kind of. I don't know. I kind of feel like he caused this. I feel like this is his own fault. Look, he's an elderly guy, I guess. I don't know if he possesses all his mental faculties. From looking at the video, I can almost assume that maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It just, the way that guy was behaving was just weird to me. It just seems like kind of fucking childish. Like there's something wrong with the guy. I don't know. Like he was drunk or something. That's just weird to me. Anyways, let's say I put myself in his shoes, and instead of doing what I would do, let's say I decide to do what Dr. Dow decides to do. Let's say I say, out of principle, I say, you know what? I'm not leaving my seat. You know what? I need to be somewhere tomorrow, ma'am, and I'm sitting right here, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Which I wouldn't say, because I know that's fucking wrong. Of course they could do something about it. They represent the owners of the aircraft. They represent the airline. And employees can go get law enforcement to remove me from the aircraft. Just like the manager at Denny's that represents Denny's, works at Denny's. If he wants you to leave the restaurant, you don't leave, he can have the cops come and get you out. Anyways, let's say I sit there in that seat. Look, the second the cops, or the air marshal, or whatever, come onto the plane, headed in my direction, I'd just be like, all right, you know what? Okay, I'm getting up. You know what? Let me grab my backpack, and I'll get off the plane, okay? Let's say I didn't even do that. Let's say I went full Dr. Dow in this fucking situation, right? And I just sit there, and I won't get up. And then when the air marshal starts to physically remove me from my seat, I start screaming, I start wailing, I start freaking the fuck out. Just losing my shit, flipping shit on these guys. To the point where they have to manhandle me off this tiny-ass fucking airplane, right? With the fucking aisles as wide as the steering wheel. But forget about all that. When I'm sitting in the hospital the next day, or later that day, you know what I'm going to be thinking to myself? I'm going to be asking myself, why the fuck didn't I just get off the plane when they asked me to? What the fuck was I thinking? Why did I do this? Why did I put myself in this situation? Because I'm that kind of person. You want to talk about personal responsibility and accountability? When something bad happens to me, I ask myself, was this my fault? And a lot of times the answer is fucking yes, because a lot of times in life, when fucked up shit happens to us, or bad things happen to us, a lot of times, one way or another, we caused it ourselves. Even if it was caused by an outside factor. If I get struck by lightning, is that the lightning's fault, or is it my fault for standing in the field in a lightning storm? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, when something like this happens, is it your fault? You put really cheap tires on your car. When those tires wear out early, and you don't get your money's worth out of them, or whatever, Do you blame the tire manufacturer, or do you blame yourself for buying cheap tires? Now, as far as blame goes, whose fault it is, it's their fault, it's his fault, it's like, you know, I mean, fuck. I gotta light another cigarette. You know, as blame goes, it's just, you need to, I don't even know how to keep going. I just don't get it. I mean, if I've kind of, you know, let me say this. Sorry, I'm trying to gather my fucking thoughts here. I'm starting to realize, I didn't realize this before until I started kind of seeing what people really thought about it. You know, people personally thought about this situation. You know, I realized that this story makes law enforcement look bad, and it makes a big corporation look bad. And I had this light bulb come on, and like, you know what? It makes so much more sense now. People don't give a flying fuck about this doctor. It's all about, we hate cops and we hate big corporations. I'm sure not all of you feel that way, you know. But I'm sure this is the main driving fact, the main driving reason behind this whole sensation right now. Is fuck the cops and fuck big corporation. Which makes way more sense now. I understand it way more, just way better. It just, that's why it's, people don't, you know, I feel like that's why people aren't kind of logically looking at things the same way I am. I keep talking about this guy's patience and, you know, his rights and his behavior and the rights of the airline and shit like that. I'm thinking people, this is what I think anyway, people don't give a shit about all that logic. It's all about emotions. I hate cops, and I hate big corporation. So my emotions tell me, like, if this guy is being portrayed as a victim of the evil police officers and the evil corporations, I'm on his side. You're not on his fucking side because you actually give a shit about his fucking patience. Like I said, I'm sure some of you actually do care about this guy, I guess. But I think this is the main consensus here, and I don't think a lot of people are saying it. But look, it's another typical fuck the cops, fuck the corporation thing. You know. And if, as far as people saying, like, why do you even want to defend corporations? You know, I'll defend cops when I personally believe they're in the right, because I have a certain respect for law enforcement. Call me what you fucking will. You know, say I just want to suck cops' dicks all day. Whatever. You want to hate me for having respect for cops? Fine. If you want to hate cops, fine. That's your own prerogative. I don't agree with you, but, you know, whatever. You want to hate big corporations, that's fine too. And as far as me defending big corporations, I'm neither here nor there with defending corporations. Now, I'm not going to demonize a corporation specifically because I don't like big corporations. I'll jump on the bandwagon of demonizing that corporation if they actually did something wrong. If I believe, you know what? Yeah, I think they did fuck up. BP? I think BP royally fucked up. I think they're 100% to fucking blame for what happened with that oil rig. Do I think United Airlines is to blame for this situation? In part. Do I think they're to blame for the outcome of this situation? No, I don't. I really fucking don't. They're to blame for creating the situation. I don't think they're to blame for the outcome. I think this guy is. I really do. Now, I mean, I'll go as far as to say that maybe the cops could have tried to more peaceably tried to remove this guy, right? But look, the guy's he's already decided he ain't getting out of his seat, right? And the airline has already been asking him to get out of his seat, and he won't. So before they even get there, they already know this guy is being non-compliant. And when they approach a situation with someone who's being non-compliant, this is how they handle things. This is what happens when you are in an experience with law enforcement and you're not compliant. You know, I feel like this should be apparent. Maybe not. But, you know, I guess right now I don't really know what else to say about it. If I'm thinking about this logically. I've tried to express my arguments about the situation in the last video and in this video as logically as I possibly can, not emotionally. And if that's how you feel, like you generally you think this guy, if you generally think this guy was wronged, that's your opinion that you're free to have, and apparently the whole goddamn world agrees with you. You know, look, guys, who the fuck am I but just a trucker on YouTube, right? You know, I'm just on here talking. This is just my channel where I come on here and talk about things. Talk about trucking, talk about subjects, talk about whatever, you know? So, like, if you want to disagree with me, that's cool, you know? I welcome the debate. Just, I mean, if you want to be a fucking asshole troll, then you can go get fucked, as far as I'm concerned. But if you just generally if you disagree with me, like some people have said, look, man, I disagree. You're in the wrong on this one. You totally disagree. Well, I don't. Had to get that last hit off of there. You know, I don't know. We'll see how everything turns out, but I believe what I've said. My logic tells me that this man handled this situation in a very poor manner, and I believe once he was told that he had to get off the airplane, once he refused to do that, as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, he's trespassing, which is against the law. So at that time, I believe he was committing a crime. And then law enforcement was involved, and they forcibly removed a man who was committing a crime, in my opinion. It's just how I feel about it. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for the guy, because I feel like he put himself in his position. Did he put himself in the hospital? I guess technically not. I guess technically the cops did. But is he the reason he's in the hospital? Did he cause that to happen? Yeah. Is a guy who pulls a gun on a cop and gets shot to death, did he kill himself? No, technically the cop killed him. Did he cause himself to die? Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, I guess I'll just end it there. You know? If you guys have listened to everything I've said in these two videos and you still disagree with me, I mean, I think I'd have to say that you're being at least somewhat illogical about the situation and a little bit more emotional, but that's just me. I don't fucking hate any of you guys for your opinion. And I would kind of hope that you don't hate me for my opinion, because after all, at the end of the day, it is just an opinion. You know, I'm sure there's a litany of other subjects that I agree with that you don't agree with. And that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You know? You guys, it's okay for us to disagree on the subject. I just want to put that out there. Like, 'cause I know, people are very sensitive these days when someone disagrees with something. But you don't have to be. But anyways, that's enough. That's enough out of me about that. I'm gonna end it right here. So I hope I was able to, clear some stuff up a little bit, But I'll talk to you guys later.